My name's Michael Kilbasa, and Adam worked for us for about 12 years, and when he passed away, I decided to send out a tribute to our all of our team members. And the family asked me to read it. I've known Adam since our company first started doing business with HEB in the late 1980s. He was one of the first market managers to really get behind our products at HEB and was a huge part of our early and quick success there. In those days, Adam was a rock star market manager and rising very quickly in the HEB system. I can't remember every store where Adam was a market manager, but I do remember that he rose quickly and was one of the few managers at HEB that was entrusted with their high-volume stores. At various times throughout his HEB career, I know that he was a market manager for all of HEB's largest stores in San Antonio. And as an aside, when I first started calling on HEB, I realized there was something really different about HEB market managers. They were smart and well-trained. I used to say that the difference between an HEB market manager and other stores' market managers was the difference between a Harvard MBA and a high school graduate. It was that different. And Adam was one of the biggest reasons that I developed that mentality about HEB market managers. He was smart, he was creative, he loved learning, he was resourceful, and most of all, he was a true leader. After he conquered all he could in San Antonio for HEB, he volunteered to help HEB open up the Houston market in the late 1990s. This was a very important time because HEB was transitioning from their pantry store format to their more traditional store format, and they needed experienced market managers to help this effort. And Adam was just the man for the job. His leadership and mentorship of young HEB market partners in Houston set the foundation for their success there now. After a few years, Adam wanted to come back to San Antonio, and you guessed it, he was chosen to lead one of HEB's signature meat markets in San Antonio, the Central Market on Broadway. This was a real challenge for any market manager because of the size of the full-service meat case there, but Adam was up to the challenge, and he was hugely successful in building the customer base at Central Market. Adam was successful at HEB because he was a true people person. He put people first in everything that he did, and as a result, he was a great leader. He led by example, often working long hours to make sure that his customers were happy and the stores looked great. He received many tremendous awards while at HEB and was one of the most popular market managers in the company. He was loved by many because of his servant leadership. After 27 years at HEB, Adam approached me about coming to work for us. He said that he admired us for many reasons and thought that he could help us grow. Well, he was right about that. When Adam joined our team on July 25th, 2005, that year our sales totaled a little under $10 million. When Adam left us on Tuesday, we're projecting sales of over $70 million. Adam helped in a variety of ways with his experience and expertise, and at various times during his 12 years with us, he worked in production. He led our safety program, and some would say he actually started it. I would say he started it. And of course, he built our brand through working with our sales team. Adam pioneered our expansion into Mexico with his connections with HEB Mexico, and now we sell our products throughout all of Mexico. Adam was a tremendous asset to our sales team, and with his inside knowledge of how market managers think, which helped fuel our growth. His network inside HEB helped us tremendously throughout the years and in a variety of ways, setting up from promotions to executing them at store level. Thank you, Adam, for everything you did to help our company grow. The words that come to mind to describe Adam: faithful, kind, servant leader, family man, hardworking, loyal, big-hearted, loving. These are words that describe a very successful life of a man that touched many, many lives. I will miss Adam very, very much. But I will never forget how much he influenced me and contributed to our company's success. Thank you, Adam. We'll miss you.
First of all, I just want to tell the family I'm honored to share some memories with Adam. He had a great impact on my life. Try to hold it together for you guys, but very close to him, so this is tough. I'm just going to share some things that Adam loved. As I got to know Adam, I kind of learned what he loved, and so I'll just kind of share some of the things that I know he was very passionate about. First of all, he had a love for selling. Things I'll always remember about Adam when it comes to selling is he was passionate about giving our customers at HEB a hot buy. Anytime we overproduced something or somehow ended up with some product that was short dated and we had an overabundance of it, he was very quick. I mean, I always remember having to kind of pull the reins back because he'd find out about it and I'm trying to get the details and tell him what price to offer that, and he's already on the phone calling market managers offering the deal, and they're like, well, what's the price? Well, I'll get that to you in just a minute, but I'll call you right back. But he was so antsy to get on the phone and let them know that he had a hot buy. Something that Anthony and some of the guys, this was before my time, I never heard this, but they told me that one of the things that they used to tell Adam that he was such a good salesman that he could sell ketchup popsicles to ladies wearing white gloves. With that, I mean, Adam loved HEB. He spent 27 years there, and I would say his passion and love for the company did not stop when he left the company to come to Kielbasa. I think his love for the company and coming to Kielbasa just helped to create a special relationship with that company. I know Mike hit on the fact that he spent 27 years there, San Antonio, and then uprooted, and moved to Houston. That loyal to the company to help him when they had a need in Houston. And I'll never forget because I sat right next to Adam, and every morning I'd come in the office. Adam was an early bird. He got used to coming into work early, so it didn't matter if I was coming in early. Early for me was getting to the office at 7 a.m. every once in a blue moon, and he would still beat me there, because I think by 6 a.m. he was getting there when it was still dark in the morning. But I'll never forget the calls and how Adam, he was so sincere. He'd call every market. He'd call the HEB, ask for the market, and he'd start the conversation by, the market manager would answer, and he'd say, "Hey, Tiger," and he'd be like, "Hey, who's this?" And he's like, "It's Adam." And Adam who? And he's like, "Adam Sanchez of Kielbasa." "Oh, Adam, hey, Adam." But I mean, he always felt like he had that special connection, and I know, there's probably some market managers sitting here today that can probably vouch for that. It's kind of a fraternity, and he was in that fraternity because he was a market manager for so many years. And I know when I was actually in the procurement office, some of the old market managers that are in there were sharing stories with me, very special and fond memories that they'll always keep of Adam from his days with HEB. One thing that always impressed me was his memory. He remembered, HEB has over 300 stores, and I swear Adam knew every one of them by heart. He could tell you the store name and the corporate number by heart. Don't ask me how he did it. I had to use a spreadsheet that would tell me the store name and corporate number, and if if I needed to do something quick, I just asked Adam, hey, the one at 1604 and, Blanco Road, SA 39, the court number. I spit them out quick. But Adam loved Kielbasa. He always told me, throughout the time I spent with him there, that he would do anything for Mike and the Kielbasa family. It was about 3 years ago that I was put in a position to be Adam's leader. And I know I'm not young, but I was younger than Adam. And anytime you inherit somebody and they're reporting to you as their leader and you're significantly younger, you always anticipate there's probably going to be a bit of a challenge in the fact that they're not going to want to take orders or report to a guy that's much younger. Adam was totally opposite of that. He took me under his wing from day one, and he shared a wealth of knowledge. And thank you for that. I know that there's others in Kielbasa that are here that will tell you that a lot of what they know, Adam trained them. His impact on the company and legacy he leaves will go on for years through the people that he trained and touched in the company. Another thing that was very evident in the time that I spent with Adam was that he loved his family. He loved his family. His desk was always a cluttered mess. But on top of all the cluttered mess was pictures of his kids, his mom and dad, his grandchildren. He always had pictures of his family. And every Father's Day, birthday, he always put his cards on display at his desk. He was very proud and he wanted everybody to see, the loving family that he had. And I know he was very proud of all of his kids. He always shared so many stories about each and every one of them. He was so proud of their accomplishments and their success in life. And he's inspired me to be a better father just from knowing him. And another thing that I know Adam loved, and he's probably watching right now, he loved his Cowboys. So I could count on Monday morning conversations with Adam about the game. He had very biased eyes. The Cowboys were always on the wrong side of the calls if they lost. And he always stood behind Tony Romo. Even though a lot of people were tough on him, he stood behind Romo. He loved his Cowboys so much that there were days, if they got a big win, Monday morning he's wearing his Cowboys jersey into the office. And I know with his father and his sons, he took a trip. I believe it was last year, and if I remember right, it was a Sunday night game, and the Cowboys were playing the Eagles, and Adam told me, he was like, "Yeah, we're gonna drive back," and I'm like, "Adam, you're crazy, man. Get a hotel room, just take the day off." And no, he was dead set. They were coming back, and I remember that night the game went into OT. And I texted Adam and I said, "Hey man, I know it's going to be late when y'all get back. Don't worry about coming to the office until after lunch. Just come in the afternoon." And I get to the office around 8:15, and there's Adam in his chair. I asked him, like, "Adam, did you even sleep? Did you get any sleep?" "Yeah, I got a couple of hours. I'm all right." I'm just like, "Okay, man." He was so dedicated and loved Kielbasa, but it was fun, Another thing that was so funny about his love for the Cowboys, we would do a fantasy football league. I'm sure there's some of you in here that play fantasy football.